over. Well, my soul look back and wonder how I got over. Well, as soon as I see Jesus, the man who died for me, the man who bled and suffered home on Calvary, I'm gonna thank him for how he brought me. I'm gonna thank him for how he taught me. I'm gonna thank him for how he kept me. Thank God because he never left me. I'm gonna thank him for old time religion. I'm gonna thank him for giving me a vision. I'm gonna join the heavenly choir. I'm gonna sing and never get quiet. Sit somewhere around the altar, sing somewhere around the altar. I'm gonna shout my troubles over. I'm gonna thank him for all he's done for me. How I got over, how I got over. I made it over. Well, my soul look back and wonder how I got over. Hi, I'm Nadine and welcome to my YouTube channel, Music in the Spiritual Realm. I am so excited to see you again, and I'm excited to expound on this woman that made history, known as the greatest gospel singer in the world during her time, and was also labeled as the Queen of Gospel. Yes, now you know who I'm talking about. Mahalia Jackson, the one and only, with one of the strongest, most powerful voices, full of life, energy, and breath. Yes, she was born in 1911 in New Orleans in a waterfront shack. Her mother lived in a room with 4 of her sisters. Mahalia Jackson's father, he worked 2 jobs and he was a preacher. And her grandfather was a plantation slave. So now you know, during this time, they had the hardest time, hardship. Just hearing how it was explained was heartbreaking. But they pushed forward. She pushed until something happened. She was a woman that stood her ground. She believed in God. Now, during her childhood, she was born with a crippling disease. Her legs were crippled and she could not walk. Seeing a doctor at that time was out of the question. And all they had was prayer. And that was one of the best things they could have had. Knowing God and praying, massaging her legs and trusting and hoping that one day she would walk. Her legs eventually straightened out and she was able to walk. Isn't that amazing? God had a plan for her. She started singing at the age of 4. And unfortunately, her mother died when she was 5 years old. Her Aunt Duke took charge of raising her. She gave her a wonderful foundation, very strict and harsh, because what she believed in is what she believed in. No secular music. The lifestyle that she wanted her to live was to represent Christ, to go to church, to be a worshiper, to praise God, to utilize her gift to the glory of God. And that foundation was instilled in her until the day she died. Although they lived in poverty, Mahalia Jackson always hoped and dreamed that one day she would come out of poverty. And she was a fan of a blues singer. She was a fan of a blues singer named Bessie Smith that she would sneak some time and listen to her music because she liked her style, she liked her voice. And Mahalia had dreams and hopes that one day she would be successful. And she pushed until it happened. Now, she had many composers sponsors and endorsers throughout her lifetime. Okay, and as we discuss this topic, I will post some of the names of the endorsers and the sponsors, okay, that she had. Now, at the age of 14, she wanted more. She babysat for the wealthy white people, okay? But she always hoped, one day I'm going to come out of this. At the age of 15, she took a chance and she went to Chicago. Now, as we all do in life, she encountered ups and downs. She had the good, the bad, the ugly. But one thing that she had was an opportunity to become the greatest singer in the world at that time. And professionalism was not even something to consider at that time. At the age of 16, she was announced a professional singer. Now, during her lifespan, as I said, she had her ups and downs. She made contact with people like Thomas Dorsey, Mitch Miller, William Paley, the president of Columbia Records, and so many more. She had an extraordinary life. She produced many records over the years, but it wasn't until 1947 that she obtained notoriety for her single, Move On Up a Little Higher, which sold over 8 million copies, becoming one of the highest selling singles of that time. She made several radio and television appearances, performed several musical tours, and even performed at Carnegie Hall on October 4th, 1950, becoming the first black singer to perform at Carnegie Hall. Isn't that amazing? She made international tour across Europe in 1952. She hosted her own TV program on CBS in 1954. She became acquainted with Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement, organizing several charitable performances to raise money. She was asked to sing by Martin Luther King Jr. at the historical March on Washington in 1963. The song she sung was I've Been Viewed, I've Been Scorned, I've Been Talked About, Sure as I'm Born. She sung at Martin Luther King Jr. funeral in 1968. He requested that she sing Take My Hand, Precious Lord, Lead Me On, Let Me Stand. This was a request that he said to Mahalia Jackson. If I die before you die, that's the song I want you to sing. Over her career, she received multiple Grammy Awards, including a Lifetime Achievement Award in 1972. Now, like I said, she had her time of ups and downs. One song she wrote, she thought it was going to reach the top, and it flopped. But as she pursued her career, she had a 7-year gap period in her life. She was married twice in her lifetime. And both marriages, of course, started out well, and they seem to have crumbled. But back then, it was hard to be married to a successful black woman, if you weren't successful. That had to be one of the greatest challenges. I couldn't imagine that, but she was successful in her lifetime. And she held her ground. I admire this extraordinary woman. She had opportunities to sing the blues. She was given many opportunities. Hey, come make some money. Sing the blues. That's where the money's at. And she always declined, even though there was money involved that she could have succeeded and continued in blues and made a lot of money. But she said, nope, I will not sing the blues. Because God gave her a vision. And in that vision, she said, God told me to open my mouth and sing. So I'm thinking, she lived during the civil rights movement, during slavery times, and she became successful with her ups and downs, with one of her records flopping, with a 7-year period gap, 2 marriages, no children. And she was unable to have children because of her health. She developed health conditions with tumors, and her weight played a role in her developing diabetes. But she pushed. She pressed forward. She pushed until something happened. And during her lifespan, she never exposed her health issues. She dealt with it the best she knew how. But when she went on stage, it was like she didn't have no issues, no sickness, nothing going on in her body, because that was her passion, her love for God, the gift He gave her, the strong voice, the strong will, the breath that she had in her to sing those songs with expression, to stylize them in her way. It was so extraordinary. There's so much to say about her, but there's not enough time. That's why I encourage you to read her documentary, because there's not enough time to explain all this on a video, okay? Just punch it up. Mahalia Jackson documentary. Punch up her biography. Read up on it. It's so inspirational that I am so perked up and I'm excited. Listen to this. She was born in 1911. Started singing at 4. By the time she was 16, 15, between 15 and 16, she was considered a professional singer. She entered Carnegie Hall. She had endorsers. She had sponsors. She had composers in her path. But most of all, she had the gift. She had God. She had her faith. She had her belief. And through her ups and downs, yes, it was hard, especially during that time. Slavery time, I mean, I'm not living in that time. And I tell you what, I'm inspired to pursue what God has given me. None of us have the same gift. And none of us can do the same thing. Wouldn't life be mundane if all of us had the same gift, the same talent? We would all be doing the same thing. So no. You have yours, I have mine. Pursue your calling. Know what it is. Pursue it. Prepare for the worst of what could possibly happen. If this happens, how do I deal with it? We don't know until it happens. But at least we can have a mindset of praying and hoping that, I hope I can push forward. I hope I can get through this without giving up. You cannot give up. Mahalia Jackson died at a young age, 60. But 40 of those 60 years, she traveled, she sang, she fulfilled her dream. She was financially successful. She wanted to come out of poverty, she did. She helped many people in her lifetime. Now, I don't want to leave out the musician that played for her. I'll post her name. You'll see her name in a minute. This woman played for her for 20 years. She was considered an extraordinary musician. I believe she was. Always keep hope and your dream alive. Regardless of what comes your way, don't let it die. Yeah, she had a 7-year gap during her time of singing because she got frustrated. Things didn't work out. But you can still keep the dream alive. Don't let it die. She considered Martin Luther King as her Moses. Can you imagine that? She called him her Moses. Keep the dream alive. Don't let it die. Whatever your gift is, I dare you to give it your best. Regardless of how you may be criticized, put down, talked about, shed the tears, wipe your face, whisper a prayer, trust in God, continue to pray. Be strong in His will and in the power of God's might. And know that anything is possible through Him. Not through us of ourselves, but through Christ. Anything is possible. And whatever He has destined to happen in your life, no one can stop that. They can try all they can to block you when they see you succeeding. It's one thing I've learned. People do not want to see you succeed. Not everybody. But there's a handful of people you come in contact or that you know, they will say, oh, I wish you the best. Oh, I'm so happy for you. But as soon as you start climbing that ladder, and you start succeeding and excelling and getting recognition for your work, some people can't stand to see that happen. But what are you going to do? Push until something happens. Pray until something happens. Just make sure that you know your calling and you're on the right path so that it can happen. Thank you for watching, and I would like to pose a challenge to all that is watching. I would like for you to share comments with your favorite hymn, and I will be happy to choose a hymn of one of you guys' choice to utilize on my next YouTube video. Be blessed.